Hello, awesome people. I hope you're having a great day today. Today we're taking a look at the 10-page short story in this collection, Cthulhu 2000, called His Mouth Will Taste of Wormwood. It's by Brite, a famous horror author who wrote a short story for this collection, which I picked up when I was in college and doing a deep dive into all things Lovecraft, starting with me finding him near the beginning of my junior year. This is published by Delray. I'll link you to it in the comments below for you folks. It doesn't mention the Cthulhu mythos for you folks, and so it's really probably not technically in it, but it is in the collection about that stuff, and it's also on the back. It's clearly meant to sell you. Brite, I know from conversations with other horror writers, it's actually a very popular horror writer among fans of the genre. For folks, I'm going back and reading this for a second time as part of my deeper dive into Cthulhu mythos, but I might push this back until post-October, which I dedicate to Cthulhu mythos, because it's not in the Cthulhu mythos for our folks. So we'll take a look and see what I think of this. This is a 10-page short story. It took me about a half an hour last night for me to knock it out for the second time. It was one of my least favorite short stories when I read this collection back when I was in college. It's still, going back to it, one of my least favorite short stories. I'm only going to be giving it a 4 out of 10. For you folks. So let's go ahead and get started. So again, I keep my review spoiler free, so we'll only be doing a quick little dive into the first couple of pages, but basically what you're going to find out is that we have two characters. They're friends, and they are best friends. Probably, I think you're probably in a relationship romantically. They are so jaded and decadent that they look for things in graveyards and then bring them back to their place and make a museum out of in people's graves and stuff like that, and crypts and stuff like that. And so they're grave diggers and so forth, and they rob from the dead, and their skulls, their body parts, and so forth too. So that's how decadent they are, right? And then bad stuff will happen to them. And so there you are. That's the short story for you folks. Now, the reason why I just don't like it that much is that it's a mature short story for adults. But unlike other mature storytelling things that you've encountered, it's only for shock value. It doesn't feel like it's actually developing the story. I'm going to give you an example. Midnight Sun by Ramsey Campbell, which I went back and reread a second time for this channel, is a horror novel by a famous horror author in England. And it was written a few decades ago. In that in that novel, our key character is a child in the first 50 pages of part A, and then he's an adult, married with a couple of kids for the rest of this novel. So he's our main point of view character, but we actually get a couple of scenes from the wife. One scene that we get from the wife in Midnight Sun is a sex scene. It's very quick. It's very fast. It shows what their sex is actually like as a married couple. Then we get another sex scene a few chapters later, and he acts differently in that sex scene than he did in the first one. And she notices the differences and then remembers them and so forth. So the sex scene, and that's sort of the first example that we get that something has changed in our main character after they moved back to his hometown where he grew up. So it's a sex scene, sure, but it tells a story. It contributes to the overall story. It's using a mature concept for something. Here's just for shock value, right? It just is using the mature label for, oh my gosh, did you realize this happened in this short story, rather than actually advancing the plot, right? And so as a result, it feels more immature and more like a junior high or a high school level that tries to be mature in order to pretend like it's mature, but it actually just doesn't. It just comes across without actually seeming like it's mature. For a similar issue, I actually happened with my recently going back and reread Fat Face. If you'll recall, I gave a 5 out of 10 too. It was mature, but it wasn't going anywhere. It didn't develop the plot. Right, it was just for shock value too, but at least that one was in the Cthulhu mythos. It's mature too, but I felt like it was probably, I thought it was too long and not strong enough and so forth. But at the same time, I felt like it was better written, right? And this was still fine. I think it's still written, but I just don't think the concept of this one actually works as a So I just don't like that this is using shock value in order to have people talk about it rather than actually advancing the plot. Mature content. So that's why I'm only giving it a 4 out of 10 for you folks. But if you like it, go ahead and read it. I just wouldn't recommend it. So there you are. That's Poppy Brite's His Mouth Will Taste of Wormwood for you folks at 4 out of 10. Have you read it? If so, what did you think about it? Let's talk about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, why not hit that subscribe button? Because there's going to be a lot more to follow. As a reminder, this channel's name is The Worst Thing About New Books. It's a quote by a French philosopher named Jean Joubert, who said that the worst thing about new books was that they kept us from reading the old ones. And so a short story that was published decades ago is definitely key for this channel. So there you are. I'll go ahead and leave it to it. Thanks so much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my video. We all have so many things that are happening in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions. So the fact that you spent this time with me is incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it. So thanks again, and have a great day.